What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you don't know me, I'm the guy that runs the Video Game Fight School channel. I also run another video game channel as well. Some of you know my history on YouTube. You know my work that I've done over the last few years. Some of you do not know. You know the faceless voice behind the microphone. I thought I'd come on camera and talk about this increase in PlayStation Plus's subscription. Now, many of you know me as the guy that has a lot of hot takes. Some of you've argued with me. You've called me crazy in many instances. And yes, I admit I can be quite crazy. Um, I could be also somewhat abrasive in my opinions, but I think I do that to force people to think in a specific way. Now, what I want to talk about today is multifolded in a sense. It just carries so much to it. So bear with me as I walk through this particular video because this phenomenon is quite interesting. And I'm not the most convincing person, so I recommend that you do your research, that you go ahead and maybe dismiss what I even say. You can call me crazy, whatever it is you want to do. And I think it'll be valid overall because I probably won't make this video again. I think I'm kind of tired at the end of the day. Just recently, I saw this news article. I saw it this afternoon, today, the 30th of August. I don't know when you saw it. Maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've heard of it. And apparently, PlayStation is increasing the price of PlayStation Plus by 35% while adding nothing, according to reports. It's true the subscription prices have been going up across the board, but it's normally about 10% or less. And Okami Games reports it in a way where he kind of provides a reality that I think many gamers need to take a very close look at. And he says, Saints Row, Black Desert, and Generation Zero are the monthly games for September that are available for you to download. Now, I don't know if this is premium or essential or extra. My PlayStation subscription is done. I'm not going to subscribe to PlayStation anymore. I thought I was crazy. And people may say, well, it's because you favor one platform or the other. I'm actually about to, end my Game Pass Ultimate subscription that I had that came with my Xbox. And I'm not certain if I want to continue that subscription again. So I might not continue it. We'll see. And Okami Games himself said, not gonna lie, mine has been gone since like March. He's been unsubscribed much longer than I have been, and I thought I was crazy. Apparently, many are starting to feel the weight of what these console subscription propositions actually do, propose to you, what they're actually delivering in regard to content. There are also other ideas about the subscription models. There was an article that came out just, the other day that talked about, let me see if I can actually find it. This person said, Sony and Microsoft subscription deals with publishers are getting smaller and it's hitting indie publishers hard. I pushed back and said, if you read the article, I don't know if you've read it, they only mentioned 2 publishers. So this article is kind of a misnomer because if a video game is something that these 2 parties, Sony and Microsoft, actually want, it seems like they'll pay money for it and they'll pay good money. And it doesn't seem like the AAA developers are feeling this, thing. Now, I know that some indie developers who have probably banked a lot of their business plan on this subscription, let's deliver to the subscription services, probably are going to be feeling it, but it means they have to change their business model. Deliver games that will make the publishers go, we want that, and the publishers to pay more for that. Or you put it on a market where the market will actually, pretty much compensate you. So I think that's kind of a different conversation overall. But also, I think I don't know who this is. This is probably the former president and CEO of Sony Interactive. This is Sean Layden. He talks about Spotify, that it requires a lot of money with the subscription services. That's basically saying, the subscription services don't seem to be profitable. And then kind of pitches, some kind of an idea as, with Game Pass or so on and so forth, possibly being that subscription model that may not necessarily, be something that seems profitable until you have a lot of subscribers and so on and so forth. The thing, though, he doesn't mention Game Pass nonetheless here. I don't think he does. Oh, he does. Yes, right here. The thing with Game Pass is we have numbers with Game Pass, so we can see where Game Pass is going. Game Pass seems to have profitability. Go to the Brazilian's Economic Authority. They released numbers that, Game Pass had about 30 million or so subscribers. If you look at, say, the growth in subscriber counts, even if you look at the losses or whatever it is, and if you also look at articles that talk about how much Game Pass pays developers, you'll realize that there seems to be room for margin over there. Overhead cost in basically hosting these games seem to be similar to what they're already doing with Xbox Live Gold. So I think there is room to say that Game Pass is profitable. There's no evidence to say that it's not, except people just sharing their feelings. If you have evidence, show me the evidence. If you want to do the math, we'll do the math. If you want my evidence, I'll give you evidence. In the comment section, I battle with people all over the place all the time. But there is something that I want to appeal to a lot of console players, about, and that is the potential to come to PC. I get a lot of pushback for this, and this is why I said this is probably the last time I'll make this video, and that's because, you are in an ecosystem that its owners or the people who control the ecosystem know that they have you by the cojones. So they know that you're more than likely going to find yourself in a position where you have to rethink your decision of not wanting to pay if that's what you want to do. That's where I see that you may be trapped in a specific place. Now, if you like what the service is offering you and you like the convenience, that's fine. It's your choice. It's your money. Do what you want. But how about the other side of the whole conversation where many people are talking about right now that the PC platform pretty much offers the best possible, position in terms of all worlds. And I think many console gamers are reaching the place, or maybe not many, but some are reaching the place where they want more in regard to value proposition in an entertainment, platform, which is gaming, that they actually would love to get. If you are in that position and you're thinking about it, I think the PC platform is already for you. You probably just don't know it because there are a lot of misconceptions as well. In 2018, I remember specifically making this video. This is a video that I made on my other channel. I titled it Why Spider-Man Should Come to PC. Why Marvel Spider-Man Should Come to PC. Discussion and critical analysis. In this video, I talked about some statistics that I'd seen. This website link is no longer a thing. It's gone. I tried to go to the webpage, but this is when NPD Research used to give out a lot of free data, when they kind of were, giving out gaming data. And there was already a shift in PC gaming around the time I made this video. I decided I was going to move to PC in like 2016. So from the PS4, I went to get a PC. I do have a Series X and a PS5, by the way. Those are my last consoles I'm buying. I also have a PS3 and Xbox 360 over there as well. Kids have a Switch, but we're not buying consoles anymore. If my children decide they want a game, I'm moving them to PC as well. I'm not doing that with this console manufacturers, but that's a whole different conversation. And so I made this video and I talked a little bit about why I thought it made sense that these PlayStation games, well, Spider-Man anyways, was going to be coming to PC. In the video, as naive and stupid as I was making this video thinking everyone's going to pretty much eat me alive, I mentioned things like God of War and blah, blah, blah. I remember making the video and going, man, this is such a long shot. But the data seemed to weigh towards bringing these exclusives to the PC platform. And as we speak, behold, today we have these games. Let me go to the Steam store. Actually, let me just go to the home. Let me go to my library and then I'll show you I'll just show you a glimpse of what I'm trying to point out here. So this is Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. I'll go to the store page and I'll be able to check out PlayStation PC's, gaming library. As of today, we have Ratchet and Clank, PS5 game, a game that was supposed to be PS5 only. We have The Last of Us Part 1. We have Returnal. We have Marvel Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales. We have Sackboy that came with the console, I think. We have Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves collection, which has Uncharted 4, and I think it has the Uncharted Legacy game. We have Days Gone. We have the Predator game. We have Horizon Zero Dawn. And we've heard rumors that more of these games are coming. So if you don't mind, exercising a little bit of patience, you will play these games on PC, no problem. And even while you're waiting, bangers are always going to come on PC. Sony is not exclusive to making really good games. Sony has to compete, like they really do. If you're actually wondering how much competition Sony has, Nintendo is out there and other publishers are out there also making really good games. So they will make games that suit your taste. So it's not a matter of, if I'm not going to be able to play my exclusives, it's just a matter of if I'm going to be playing my exclusives day one. Because this was my proposition in regard to that. In fact, I said in this video somewhere, I remember going back to watch it and I said, man, that's just crazy that if they could bring these, games maybe later down the road, it probably won't be a bad idea. I said something along the lines of that. I just was shocked as to how this came up later on and was interesting overall. And seeing these subscription services go up, I don't see any reason why anybody who may be feeling that weight needs to continue to remain on the PC platform. I think you've probably mentally graduated from this bogus nonsense and you want to move further. If we run the numbers, you will see that the numbers are somewhat in your favor. because I know you will probably, bring up the cost aspect of things. I understand. I get it. To come to PC these days is not easy. It's not cheap. The economy has changed. 2016, when I started building my, my PC and PCs, is different from 2023 in this day and age. But if you also kind of consider a lot of technological changes, that's where your opportunity is. The fact that that the hardware changes very fast is where your opportunity is. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. So what is, the paradigm? I remember this article as well, and I'm just going through all of this stuff so I could just mount the evidence as much as I can. June 13, 2017. This is a website, Twinfinite. They ask and say, Spider-Man PC. Is Spider-Man PS4 coming to PC? And they concluded, that it's not likely. Unfortunately for PC players, it doesn't look likely they'll be able to play the upcoming title on their PC anytime soon. At least they left room for the possibility. The game isn't tagged as an only PlayStation title over on the game's official page. However, Insomniac's console exclusives, whether they're for Xbox One or PS4, don't tend to hit homes for any computers. This has been a long-running thing with them for now. Well, this Insomniac, of which they speak in this article, now has 2 games on the PC platform. There are changes that are happening, and these changes are going to continue to happen because the market pressure and the market forces are saying so. If only I could get this data for you to show you that the PC segment was growing so fast at the time, it was almost inevitable to see this change happen, but it just needed a few years. I think with, Sony acquiring Nixxes, that was not that was not a spur of the moment thing. They planned and saw that there was a market there, and they started to leverage it. With Microsoft going in with games, Game Pass into the PC ecosystem, they also saw the opportunity and they decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and leverage this as well. Everyone is jumping on a PC platform. So what are your questions cost? Now, building a PC is a very interesting thing. Building a PC to fill the void, or at least replace your console, is also a different thing, because there are many different kinds of PC setups. Like here, I'm using one PC setup to capture my video and do my recording. I have another one over there that I use for benchmarks. You can see the monitor over there. That's my 4K setup. I geek out with this kind of stuff. Everybody does things differently. But if you want to build a PC to replace your console, it's going to be a gradual process, unless you want to really go full on and then spend the money to do it. But if you really are motivated, you can do it. That's the first thing. So you also say, well, how about a $600 or $500, PC that can replace my console? The truth of the matter is the comparisons don't really matter, because on console, your costs in regard to higher game prices, for the most part, subscription fees as well, for the most part, kind of makes sense, where over 2 years, if you pay for your subscription service, that's an additional cost, and then the additional cost of your games. If you think that PC games are almost always as expensive, you ought to basically maybe visit a site like CD Keys. Everyone's going to be buying their games for whatever the price is that they're asking for at launch, and people on PC are going to be buying it at a discount with services like these. There are a lot of services that do regional pricing, and because of the competitive stress back and forth, they're able to sell you keys that actually are affordable for you, or at least at a reduced price. And if you want, come back later. A lot of the games are going to be discounted already. Like a game like, Jedi, which came out this is how much I paid for Jedi. So Jedi hasn't really come down much, but this is the price on PC. Jedi Survivor, you can play it on EA's Origin. Yeah, it's not optimized, so don't touch it. But this is just one example. Then if you go to games like Jedi Fallen Order, let me see if we can find a PC version of that. Jedi, or maybe they don't even sell it anymore. It's all gone. They used to sell the Steam one's gone, the EA one's gone. They sold it one time for 90 cents. They sold that whole game for 90 cents. I bought one for my kid. When he's able to play it, he can then, have access to it for 90 cents. And so game pricing, and if we actually look at how many games you pay for a year, it actually can even out. There are also deep discounts, because now you're not locked into one ecosystem where you can buy most of your games, and then everything else is kind of like, you can buy PlayStation games from here too. You can buy PlayStation cards, but it's rare. You can buy Xbox stuff here, but it's also rare. But on PC, we have a plethora of platforms that you can make purchases from. CD Keys is just one of them. Steam is also another one, if you actually wanted to go ahead and look at the Steam paradigm. But you also have another player in the game that nobody really talks about, and that is the Epic Games Store. I always wonder why nobody talks about the Epic Games Store when they're talking about, video games and video game sales. This is my Epic Games library. It's got a bunch of games in it, and I think I've paid for only like 5 of them. Now, a lot of games I'm not going to play because many of them are like, games that I'm not really interested in. But they give out a lot of free games like every so often. This is where you can really build a very solid game library. This is Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. I don't remember if I don't think I paid for this. I paid for Borderlands 3. I paid for I can't remember the game I paid for. Metro Exodus, I paid for it here. But this company has filled up my library with so many games that it's insane. If I paid for Godfall, that was a crazy. Ooh, I can't believe I paid for that game. I was kind of salty about it. But they're just giving a lot of free games, so you can build a game library on PC by actually looking around. CD Projekt Red also has a store called Good Old Games. You can also build a PC library. There's my Good Old Games going to show up. It's not going to show up. You can build a PC library there, and you can kind of start again, because I know you have a lot of games on PlayStation, so it's very difficult to maybe move, to another ecosystem. But again, you've mentally graduated, and you want to actually leave the bogus nonsense that Sony and Microsoft pull from time to time. In Microsoft's case, they're fighting. They're in a sense the underdogs, number 3. So they'll do everything to win favors. But once they get to a nice position, don't be surprised that they take the exact same steps. They're all corporations. They want to be profitable and extra profitable, however it is. So we're not blinded by that. I know people may say, oh, well, you talk about Microsoft in a positive light. No, I talk about Microsoft as one who provides better value proposition over Sony. This is why a lot of people probably think that I'm, in a sense, more, singing the praises of Microsoft. No, I'm just basically talking about who's giving you a better deal overall. And we've been talking about this with tons and tons of games, and I've not mentioned Game Pass for 1 second. And by the way, if you were wondering if Epic Games does give out free games, they actually do. And they have 2 free games right now. You might not care for them, but they're there anyways. You can go ahead and get them. Ubisoft, believe it or not, on PC gives out free games as well. I have a library full of Assassin's Creed games, and if you ask me, when did you buy all this? I'm like, I didn't buy it. They just did it anniversaries every so often during Christmas, during some seasons. They just give out a free game. These are the things that nobody really talks about when it comes to PCs, because everybody, for the most part, that's talking about the console and, console versus PC paradigm, don't necessarily talk about how even the publishers themselves have more independence on the PC platform and are capable of doing way more than they would on the console platforms, because they have direct access, to the consumer. Like Ubisoft has its Uplay platform. Epic Games is one where, people who use Unreal Engine can also sell their games on there. A lot of games that will come out on Unreal Engine, they'll sell them there. My Xbox, its platform that uses the PC side, can go directly, and then you have Steam. So you have all of these different options at your beck and call that I don't necessarily think that in today's day and age that this constraint of the PlayStation subscription pricing and so on and so forth, which is pretty much a subscription pricing to rent games to you for the most part, even though your license is somewhat, rented, but, for the most part, that license is still better than a subscription model. I'm not saying it's all bad, but at the end of the day, you're paying for using online services. Cloud saves, according to some people, man, I have my cloud saves here. I get it. Steam has cloud saves for free. Buy the game on Steam, your games are cloud saved. My game on this build over here, the one that's over here in the corner, if I stop the game over here, I can just move over there and start playing the same game once my cloud files update. I can save and back up my cloud files, do whatever I want with them. I can take my save files, I can save them, I can, develop different save points. You can do the same thing on the other platforms as well, but you get that cloud save functionality for free. You get it also on Epic Games for free. You're not paying a dime for those. So again, it starts to weigh in that direction. And I think the last side of it is building a particular PC to fit the console mold. Like when you talk about, say, the Series X, my Series X is over there. When you talk about the Series X and you talk about, say, or your PS5, what am I going to build to kind of fit that model? Like, do I have to use a mouse and a keyboard? Somebody was telling me in the comment section of one of my videos, a mouse and keyboard is just crazy. And then he said, and you PC players can just say, why not just use a keyboard? Why not just use a controller? Sorry, that's what they said. I was like, honestly, you can use a controller. And they were like, I tried a controller and, it just didn't really work out for me. And I was like, well, I can understand that you tried a controller and it didn't work out for you, but I don't understand how you mean the controller didn't work out for you. At the end of the day, it's all up to you how you do things. You can see my controller is connected to this PC. I have a really crazy setup here. And then whenever I want to play on the other PC, I have a wireless setup that I can just do. I just put my battery in, and I'm able to go ahead and play whatever game I want to launch. So let me go ahead and launch a game up here real quick. Give me a second. That way you guys can see. I mean, it's not, it's not necessarily the most crazy thing. Let me launch Armored Core. I haven't played that game in a minute. If the sound goes crazy, you know what? Let me play Gotham Knights, man. Screw it. This is one of my favorite games. I know the whole world went crazy. Yeah, Gotham Knights. Oh my gosh, it's not Arkham. And a lot of these reviewers lied to many of you, and you came out and said, "Oh, Gotham Knights." But I've dropped 300 hours in the game. Game's fun. Wireless. I'm controlling the game on that device, and it can do the job as I want. Continue game. That's it. You can actually absolutely enjoy the platform. I need to turn this off. You can absolutely enjoy the platform as you need, but you really have to do the research. And some people have said the research is the big deal. Man, I don't want to sit down here and do a bunch of research, and I don't want to do a bunch of this. I get it. But if you really want to break away from the convenience, because the convenience is actually what's costing you. I don't know if you know that. I think many people don't realize that this is what's costing you. It's the convenience that's costing you more than anything else. And once you're willing to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to break away from the convenience model, and I'm going to go ahead and let me see what Robin's doing tonight. Is he cooking? Who's here so I can cook? I think I beat everybody. I need to go back to base of operations and load another mission again. But there'll be others that load up. Let's do that. And if you're willing to basically leave the convenience, you can enjoy a different platform that offers, a lot of what it is you need. Is it perfect? It's not. Is it going to be 100 times better? In many games, yes. In many aspects, yes. Are there going to be challenges? Of course. It's you pretty much taking into your hands your own hardware setup, your own software setup, and the way you want your games to run. So yes, there'll be a learning curve. I mean, nothing good comes easy. I don't think anything comes of that. I think at the end of the day, it's just, people pretty much going for whatever it is that they want, however it is they want. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to you. These video games are going to continue to come out. They're going to continue to demand more hardware. If you have a PC, you can upgrade, you can downgrade as much as you want. In fact, I downgraded this PC to my 1080 Ti. I was just being silly. And I thought, let me see how this 1080 Ti is doing with, games. And I played Armored Core on it on 1440. It still runs, 1080 Ti is still the beast, the unsung hero. I think the 3060 finally came in. The 3060 16 or 12 gigs or so finally came in to kind of like top it a little bit. But at the end of the day, still a really good, setup. You can use old CPUs and all that. There's an entire paradigm that can actually walk you through. You can go to PC Part Picker, but there is a lot that needs to be done about it. I'll show you my first build so that, you know where I came from in this whole conversation. And it was a really modest build. It was done by Austin Evans, and I remember that build very well, not because it was such a good build, but because it was a build that really did change my mind about the whole PC thing. It opened up doors that I just never really believed. Well, here it is. Austin Evans called it the Boson 3.0. He used to make these builds called the Boson builds. I don't know why. It sounded like a scientific name or whatnot. And I remember I copied the whole thing. I went for it. I just said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this build. And I was going to play the Division 1 because I'm a bit Division player. I don't know if you've seen Division footage just pop up out of nowhere. That's my Division footage sitting there. And I went ahead and I made the build. The build actually is a solid build. It was running Shadow of Mordor at over 60 FPS, GTA 5 at over 60 FPS, and a bunch of other games that he tested here. And I said, man, I got to put this build together. I got the components, as he said, AMD Athlon, got a FX, so it wasn't doing 60 FPS for The Witcher, though, but it was doing 60 FPS for, I think, GTA. And CSGO, yeah, that's, they'll do some of the simple games, but The Witcher, that was quite impressive that it was doing over 30 FPS for The Witcher, and then some benchmarks and just putting some parts together. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to copy this build. So I did it. And then when I fired up the Division 1, it did not give me 60 FPS. I actually went back and I kept this case. I just recently threw away this case because I lost the back cover. I still have the Roswell power supply in there. I gave away. Well, I changed it all. I went to an Intel build. I think went with a 6500 i5. I was it i5 or i7. I went with the i5 6500, and then I got a RX 480. I recently gave that away to old GPU, 4 gigs, Old Faithful. Ran that game at 60 FPS. That same game just recently got its 60 FPS just a few years ago on the new generation consoles, and it's only even on Xbox. On PlayStation, they won't even unlock the frame rate so that you can get the 60 FPS version of the game. So hardware has always kind of been behind on console, and even just the advancements have always kind of been behind on console versus PC. So that was another thing that kind of was attractive to me to go with. But at the end of the day, like I've said, it's up to you if you want to do that, or if you want to stay in these ecosystems that seem to somewhat, crowd, they kind of hold down their crowd and grab them by the, the cojones and want them to just, pay whatever it is they want them to pay. But if you want to break out of it and you still appreciate gaming as a hobby, I think a PC is probably going to be something that works for you. If you don't care, nonetheless, then a console is definitely recommended. And before you give me that, oh, can you buy a console that can perform like a PC, blah, blah, blah. This 1080 Ti, its raw raster performance is insane. For the most part, if it competes with many PlayStation games at 1080, you're going to see some really cool numbers. Even though it's hardware, it's much older, you're going to see a lot of cool numbers. But again, Rome wasn't built in a day. So wanting to build a PC that can do this with your console, blah, 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 is going to be a gradual process. Remember, I started from the Bozon 3.0, a basically $300-$400 computer back in the day. It came out to like $400 or $500 or so about a few years ago. But it's the best teacher on how to build a computer. Everything here is very simple. And this is where I started from. Now I'm running a 4090. I have a 4080. Took it out of there so I could put a capture card. I have another one, but I geek out on this stuff. But it's a gradual process. It's a gradual process. You're not gonna, if you want to jump to a 4090 today and then look at that and say, oh, is that what I have to pay? You're gonna be discouraged. You got to start from your Bozon 3.0. And if you have the dough and you want to try it out, hey, by all means. That's my video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we will talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.